Hi, and welcome to this guide on how to use a focus frame, a focus macro, and a Mouseover macro. My name is Climax, and let's get right into it. Okay, over the next 5-6 minutes I'm gonna briefly explain something to you that if you don't know it already, it should blow your mind on World of Warcraft, because this will make your life so much easier. If you're a class who has an interrupt or a purge, you know that you're manually clicking around to have the right target, and then interrupting that target, DPSing something else, purging the third, and so on. What I want to show you will get rid of that problem. So, the first thing you need to do is to understand what a focus frame is. A focus frame is another target frame. So, Skull is my current target right now. But if I wanted to keep an eye on Star, for example, then what you need to do is keybind how to take a focus target. So you go to you go to key bindings, targeting, and you scroll down until you find focus target, and you bind it to something. I bound it to middle mouse. So, I'm going into a pack, I know Star is casting something, and I want to take Star as my interrupt. So I click on Star, I press middle mouse, and it will now give me an extra frame where I can keep an eye on it, no matter what target I have. So I can always keep an eye on Star. And then I can take Skull, and I can keep DPSing Skull. But I will still see this focus frame. What you then need to do is you need to find you need to go into macros first. So write /m, and you get into this space, and then you press new, give it a name, press OK, and it will create what I have already cheated and created here, which is a macro. The first line of the macro is not so important, it just shows the icon and the cooldown. The next part, I'm just going to explain it briefly. It will cast Wind Shear at the focus target. So I have on my bars now Wind Shear, normal Wind Shear, which of course will go to the target of Skull. But if I was keeping an eye on Star while DPSing the Skull, I could press this at 2, and then as you see, it would interrupt Star. So this is very handy if you're getting into a big pack and you want to keep an eye on something, especially because you can take the focus target way before you're even pulling the pack. So before you're even going into the pack, you can say Star is my focus target, taking it as a focus target, and then going to DPS something else. And you will always be able to keep an eye on it. The next step of this guide is the Purge macro. So anyone who is playing Shaman, Druid, it works for Soothe as well, Warlock, Demon Hunter, Priest, and so on, you can actually use this and just replace Purge in the macro with your ability. So you just take the macro exactly like this. So what is a Mouseover? A Mouseover is the target that your mouse is currently over. So right now it's cross for me, now it's blue, now it's orange. So this line in the macro, it says it will cast Purge, but it will cast it at the Mouseover if the Mouseover exists. Otherwise, it will just cast Purge. So that's a semicolon right here. So what that means is it actually also works as your normal Purge macro if your mouse is just not hovering over something like a critter or one of these training dummies. So that's, for example, if you hold in the right mouse button, then you don't have a mouse over target. It's impossible because the mouse is gone. So it will just go to the normal target. That way, this macro has two functions. So I drag it down. I always play with this. I replace the normal Purge with that. So how can I use this? Well, let's say that we came to the skeleton pack with the caster in Shrine of the Storm, and I was interrupting and DPSing on the Skull. So I can interrupt and DPS normally on the Skull. I have this button right here to interrupt normally, obviously. But if I hover over the first other target here and I press my Mouseover macro, it will purge that one. And then I go to the next with my mouse. I don't take it as a target, I just hover the mouse over it. Purge that, purge the next, and so on. While still being able to interrupt Skull. So that way you can direct your spells at different mobs with these abilities. So if I hold in the mouse now, let's say I don't want to purge Star anymore, and I want to be sure it goes to the Skull. So I just press right click, so the mouse is not there anymore, and I press the same button, and it goes to the Skull, as you can see. That is all for this video. I hope it was useful.